Leslie Walker. Let me get this right here. Let me just say, before you sit down, Leslie, just take a look. So, Sixers Youth Foundation focuses on youth development, utilizing the power of basketball and the influence of the Sixers brand to inspire future generations. I got that from the website, but I love the way you stated that because we're going to talk about that, how you can utilize the brand, the Sixers brand, to really help the community, and that's what you're doing. This year's Star-Studded Annual Gala, again, raised a record-setting $1.9 million for youth in the region. That is some serious money, $1.9 million. We'll talk about that as well. And prior to joining the Sixers, Leslie served on multiple leadership roles for nonprofit organizations in the Philadelphia area. We'll talk about that as well. So please have a seat. We're going to turn this off here just so everybody can see us without those lights pounding on our face. So first of all, how did you end up in nonprofit? Before the Sixers, how did you end up in nonprofit?
So when I got out of college a long time ago, I actually was in sales for a little bit, and it just didn't do it for me. And waking up in the morning, it was just not something that I just felt really strongly about. And so I wondered, what is it that I might want to do? And so I went into teaching. Actually taught preschool for a little while, and then I realized I like the other side of like the program side of it. So I got into doing program work, and that led to like working in different nonprofits. And I was like, I found my calling. I found where I should be.
And first job in nonprofit was where?
Oh boy, going back, that's a long time ago. So the first one, I worked for an agency that did work around child welfare.
Okay.
And so child welfare really like the protection of kids.
Right.
And so I worked on a program where I actually bought different resources and created different programs for children like 4 and 5, and they like weren't able to go to like preschool because things could be really expensive to be able to go to a child care facility. Mm-hmm. So I had the opportunity to work with those children and those families and really give them things that they would have gotten if they were able to afford to go to a child care center.
Let's forward decades later. You were a big Sixers fan your whole life.
My whole life.
Did you ever imagine you'd be working for this organization?
No, I think I willed it to happen maybe. So we were talking about how long I've been a fan. So I've been a Sixers fan since I was 10 years old. My father was in the military, so by the time we got here and he retired, because I have older siblings, I got introduced to Philadelphia sports and fell in love with the basketball. And many years later, here I am. So I was at the job before I am where I am now. I worked for the Free Library of Philadelphia. And one day I went to an event and I don't know if any of you, have you ever taken the ferry over from Philadelphia to Camden or Camden, and back? Wow, what an experience. If you just want to do something totally fun. So I was going to a festival at Wiggins Park in Camden, meeting a friend there. She drove because she was working and I didn't need my car. So as I'm going over on this ferry, it's incredible, beautiful September day. And I see the whole waterfront where the Sixers, office is. And I took this beautiful shot. And I put it on my screensaver at the library. And it was on there I was there 5 years, so just about 5 years. So I'd look at it every day. And I kind of think that kind of helped me get back.
Well, I'm going to let them ask questions
Okay.
about how you ended up where
Sure.
you're at and your job and all that. So who would like to go with the first question? Sean, you want to go with the first one?
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
So, the 76ers first game, preseason game is October 11th. So, what do you do at the games?
So, okay, that's a really good one. So just to kind of let you know, so the Sixers Youth Foundation is is where I work. And so that's the nonprofit arm of the 76ers. And so my kind of role at games could vary. So sometimes I get to go and just watch because I may not have a business need to be there. And there are other times where we may have youth that are there from different schools around the region, and we host them. So and a lot of them are grantee partners, where an organization, a nonprofit, will fund them for a particular program. So we're able to invite the students to games. So I get to interact with them. We're getting ready to start a 50-50 raffle program. And you probably know, like a lot of the other sports teams already do that. And so the Sixers did it, and the foundation did it years ago, and then stopped. So we're relaunching that. So once that launches, hopefully around November 10th, we'll be at every game, and we'll have a team there that'll be walking around or at a kiosk selling the 50-50 raffles. So they have to just manage that. So the duties for that, will be pretty focused.
Do you attend every game?
No, but I will after November 10th.
There you go.
Definitely, yeah.
All
Yeah.
right.
So we do get the opportunity to go when I was saying when you don't have the business need, where you can go sit and watch a game.
Yeah.
And just be a fan and go in jeans. And Matt back there may not get to do that, but and get to go in jeans and be a fan and scream my head off and have a good time.
All right, next question. Go right here.
So, like, what do you do with your job for, like, the Sixers Youth Foundation? What do you do with your job, and how'd you get it? How'd you get your job?
Okay, so let me start with how I got the job. So already said I was at the Free Library of Philadelphia. I was there for just about 5 years. I started there as the chief of staff, and then I became the interim director. So for about a year and a half being the director, I knew that I didn't want to be the director of the library. And I also knew that I missed nonprofit work. So that little bit of government, we still did some work with nonprofits, because we would have nonprofits come into the libraries and do different programming. But I knew that I wanted to get back into the nonprofit world, because I really missed it, because that's really, where I have spent, 30 plus years of my career. So I told the board, so all nonprofits have a board, and I report to a board chair as the executive director. I told them, that because they asked, was I interested, did I want to put my hat in the ring? And I said no. And I told them, I said, I want to get back into the nonprofit work, but I'm committed to staying here until you find someone, for the position like you've been doing. And so I kind of was like, what? I knew I wanted to run a nonprofit. That much I did know, because I've done a lot, and I knew I wanted to run a nonprofit. And so literally one day I was on LinkedIn, and I said, wait a minute, what is that position? And it was the executive director of the Sixers Youth Foundation. And I totally surprised, because a lot of times when you get to a certain point in your career, you work with a search firm. So a search firm will reach out to you and, for different positions, but this was right there. And so I applied for it, and I was like, all right, we'll see what happens. And I applied for it, and literally 2 days later, I got a call, can you interview with HR? And so and everything just kind of went like that. It's like the interview with HR, can you meet with this other group? Met with this other group. And then the interesting thing is that second group, they said, it's going to be a little bit of time before you hear back from us. The preseason's getting ready to start, and we, our attention has to, focus here. And I said, no problem. But sure enough, about 3 weeks later, get through the preseason, the start of the season, I get a call, and then here I am in the position. Second part of your question, so how did I get the job? The second part was what I do. And so we do grant making. And so that's the biggest part of our job. So most sports teams get a percentage of dollars from the parent organization. So this would be Harris Switzer Sports and Entertainment. So they give us money to operate as well. But then we also do fundraising. And so you'll see we have the big gala that you mentioned where we raised 1.9 million last year. Boy, I'd love to get 2 million this year. It's gonna be a lot, for us. And so the fundraising is that piece. And then we have the 50-50, those dollars were, half of those dollars will go back into foundation. So running that. And then we do some smaller, fundraisers. Just a lot of the smaller ones really too, or just to let people know about the Sixers Youth Foundation. Not that we're looking with the smaller ones to bring in the kind of dollars that a gala would bring in, but we're looking to be able to let people know about the work we do. So that's a lot of the basis of the job. And then we get to go out and talk to different nonprofits around the region. So the region is just like what the 76ers, their reach is. So Philadelphia, the surrounding counties, South Jersey, northern Wilmington. And so the fun part of the job, I think, is really going out to meet grantee partners or potential grantee partners and getting to know their organization, and then, building that relationship with them. And so that when it comes time where we have a board meeting, so we have about 3 board meetings a year, and twice a year, spring and fall, we present new grantee partners to our board, and the board votes on that. So I don't have any say, on that, what they're going to decide on, but I present that to them. And as a matter of fact, tomorrow morning we have a board meeting. And so I will be presenting about 8 grantee partners to the board. And one of the unique things about the foundation is we do multi-year funding. There are many funders that are still doing just 1 year. But before I came on board, the board really realized that they wanted to help, grantee partners for a longer period of time. So doing the 3-year multi-year funding. So that's really exciting for us to be able to do that. And then we have 3 pillars. So academic enrichment, and think about out of school time programs, what you do after school. There's so many different kinds of after school programs that do homework help, tutoring, mentoring, anti-bullying programs. There's so many different ones, and then sports and recreation. So we look at the nonprofits that are doing, some sports-centered programs, and then the last one is we refurbish basketball courts, and so that's also a really fun part of the job, to be able to go around the region and to be able to look at different basketball courts that we might be able to, refurbish and be able to get, youth back out there. Is a great thing.
Who's on the board? Is it business leaders, members of the Sixers organization? Who's on the board?
So it's both. So it's internal Sixers executives and also from the outside.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. In the back, Ryan.
Helping out kids, your feeling of helping out kids with your work loans.
Say that one more time.
Describe the feeling of helping out kids with the Sixers Youth Foundation and how it makes you feel.
Oh, so when I really described to you when I was doing sales and I was like, this is not getting me up in the morning. Every morning I get up, I'm excited about the work that I do. And I really think that when you're excited about the work that you do, you're just going to love going and doing it every day. And to know that I've had the opportunity to really bring resources that these youth haven't had the opportunity or may never get the opportunity to experience, that's what makes me happy. And the Sixers Youth Foundation works with middle school age programs. So that was another thing the board decided, was that we see a lot of gaps in that 11 to 14-year-old age. A lot of programs for younger, little kids, a lot of programs for high school, but not really in that. And if you don't get a young person by the time they're 13, chances are a lot of other things can happen And so looking at that middle school age is really, that great focus I think that we have. And when I get an opportunity to go to a program and just watch and be able to see what these children are doing, very exciting. Or you cut a ribbon on a basketball court, and then you ride by there and you see kids running around playing, just having fun. That's what it's about for me.
I want students to realize and understand, they see the general manager, the president, they see about public relations and obviously social media today. But I want them to understand that there's so many other jobs that are involved in sports like yours, yet it's not something I don't think they think about a Sixers Youth Foundation as a job in sports, right? You know what I mean? It's like, but you're just an example of many different entities within an organization that are available for these students to be able to pursue.
Yeah, that's such a great point. And not that I didn't think that there were all these other jobs that the Sixers had, but even for me, coming in, working in the nonprofit, I'm just really thinking about that piece when I'm getting hired. Then when I come in, I drive up to the building and I see, okay, we have this building, we have this building. Wait, so there's a business side and a basketball operations side? I was pretty much blown away by just not really realizing that, hey, this is a business. Like, there's other things that are happening here. So you may not think about it, but you can work in finance. There are accounting positions. You can work in HR.
Sure.
I know, probably about like social media, and we have a lot. Our communications department, PR. So there's so many great positions that are available, and I just never really thought about that.
Yeah.
And also, just thinking about sales. And one of the big things that really helps out the Sixers Youth Foundation, when we have the gala, we get a lot of corporate sponsors. And so those corporate sponsors give money, to the foundation. And those sponsorships are the people that are going out and getting them, they're the people that work at the Sixers. So when we do the gala and we start to fundraise for that, the whole organization takes part of that, down to our operations team as well. A woman named Laura Price is our chief operating officer for the 76ers and executive vice president for Harris Blitzer Sports and Entertainment. Laura's been with the Sixers 30 plus years. 30 plus years. Okay, 30 plus years. And if you can just imagine, when she started, there weren't a ton of women in sports, and now you're seeing more women. But Laura was like on the cutting edge. She was there when the women were like starting to be recognized, and she has mentored countless women in and out of the organization. And for me, like, Laura and I are really close in age, but I didn't know the like Sixer side of the business. There's things they talk about, like, I'm like, I don't know what that means, or I don't know what this acronym is, or what, and I can tell you about anything about a nonprofit, but she really just took me under her wing. Now she is on the board, and so now she's like my go-to person, and we talk about like anything. And so it's kind of one of those relationships where, we talk about business, but then, we've been together for about 3 years now, or I've been there for 3 years now. And also, get an opportunity, like if something's just going on personally, she's been there for me that way as well.
Okay.
What's the biggest difference between nonprofit work and working for the Sixers that you've realized? Like, what's the difference between sports and nonprofit?
I would say that the only biggest thing is that we're giving money away to nonprofits, right? So they're able to operate their programs. the Sixers have a department, community relations and social responsibility, and they do a tremendous amount of work, with children, and youth, older adults too. But they really have they really do a lot of work in the community, and so I see a lot of connection because of the fact that we're out in the community, and my team also supports a lot of the work that they do when they may be doing a clinic, and we'll go out and help, or they're doing a back to school drive and we'll go out and help at that back to school drive.
We mentioned the 1.9 million that you
Yeah.
were able to raise. Talk about the relationships that you're able to have or create with players that can support your efforts.
So that I'll tell you that's a little bit different with the foundation. So where the players really come out and support and help us are at the gala. We have people that come, individuals, when the sponsorships, they get tickets, so they're able to give tickets out to, I guess, people at their jobs or even, probably people in their personal lives. And that is we get 100%, like the whole team comes out, and it ends up being a big event. And that because of who they are and what they, bring, with them, and it really helps us a lot, because a lot of people want to meet players. The players do a lot of wonderful things. Many of them have their own foundations, as well. And so to be able to have them do that, there's different things they do for us. They have stuff right now going on where they'll do these little clips for us, and we're able to use them, on our Instagram account, and be able to use them on our website when we're fundraising, so people can see that they are involved and that they care about the organization and they care about the foundation.
Very good. All right. Yep, right here.
So how much collaborating do you do with the players? Like I saw Joel Embiid had a block party the other day for his brother's foundation. You guys involved with stuff like that at all?
So no. So that's really on the Sixers side and with the player side and with Joel's foundation and what Joel, would like to, wants to do in the community. Where we come in is some of my team, I wasn't able to go. I had another gala that I went to, but my team went and helped volunteered for that event. So we do support, they come out and support us, so we want to be able to support them. But then on the Sixers side, many people across the organization did help to plan that day for him.
Yeah, that was at the Six-Man Center,
It
right?
was.
At Fishtown. So
Yes,
Joel actually donated money for one of the courts there too.
right.
It's a new facility about a mile away from the LaSalle campus. But it's beautiful. I've been to the facility. It's a beautiful facility. But they're getting players to donate money to help. And again, that's a nonprofit.
Yeah, that's a nonprofit. And one of the things with a lot of the players that are doing, that have their own nonprofits, or I should say foundations, or just want to do, some good work, they'll want to know, like, what are these nonprofits out there? What are this? And so, we've been able to suggest, just like, hey, look in this area, there's a lot of different areas that you may want to go and take a look in this neighborhood. And so then they'll do, go look in those different neighborhoods and see if there are any programs that resonate with them.
We've had some students that have worked, it's a Philadelphia Youth Basketball that have worked there with that organization. So some of our students have interned there. So
Oh, that's
today,
nice.
yeah. So
Very
you
nice.
have the Sixers Youth Foundation, you
Mhm.
have the Eagles with Autism, Eagles Autism
Mhm.
Foundation, you have the Flyers Fight for Lives, and then you have the Phillies with ALS.
Mhm.
Do you coordinate or work at all, or do you collaborate, or do you talk to your counterparts at the other teams?
So when I came in, I thought it was really important for me to meet everybody across all the different teams, because I wanted to really know what they were doing. I wanted to really see how it would, influence my job, how I could learn from them, what kind of best practices I could, get from them to be able to bring to the Sixers Youth Foundation. And so I called up each one of them. I got their contact information. I either went to breakfast or I went to lunch with them, and then got to that. So this is all like in my first year, and and went to different events that they had, went to the games, saw how they did things at their games, and just talked to them too about where are you supporting. So we do talk. Sometimes there'll be a similar nonprofit that is interested in looking at all of us for funding. So we'll talk about that. Hey, did you hear from this person? Did you hear from that person? What do you and talk about what you think and what are the good things. So many of us do support some of the same organizations. With this 50-50 program, the raffle program I was talking about, we work really closely with the Flyers and the Phillies to really gain a lot of knowledge from them about how that program works. It's been invaluable really for us. It's really helped a lot. The Phillies invite us to a game every year. My team, Community Relations and Social Responsibility. So we do that. The Flyers invite us to games. So we do have a really good time. We've been to Eagles preseason games, so that's been a lot of fun. And I have to admit, I don't know much about soccer. And so we got invited to a Union game, and I'm like, oh, this was pretty exciting. Like,
That's
I really
great.
never.
What is their charitable?
I think it's just called the Union Foundation.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
think it's
wasn't
just called the
aware
Union.
of being
Yeah.
aligned with
Yeah,
any
is that right?
specific.
Yeah, it's called the Union Foundation.
But they're not
Yeah.
aligned with any specific group or anything.
It's still growing.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
OJ right here has done stuff with the Eagles Autism Foundation.
Very
So-
nice.
So he's been involved with them. So
Interning
Well-
with them.
I'm kind of like, I'm actually been a volunteer with them since
Very.
spring 2022.
Oh, that's very nice.
very cool.
There is one event that, so there's an organization called 12 Bars of Charity, and they approached the Eagles Autism Foundation about an event that they have every year, and it's like a bar crawl, right? And so they have it in some major cities, and they wanted to come to Philadelphia, and so they approached the Eagles Autism Foundation, and then the Eagles came and approached all the different sports
Oh,
teams and
nice.
said, hey, would you like to participate? It's not a high cost fundraiser. Your ticket is you buy a sweatshirt, and every team has a different color they get to pick, and part of the proceeds from the sweatshirt go to your foundation, and the other part to them.
Right.
And so that'll be coming up in December. And
Did
we
you
all
say
get together.
bar crawl?
I did say a bar crawl.
You hit the right crowd with that. You know that, right? This is your crowd right there for the bar crawl. So.
This is great. Yeah.
All right. Who else? Next question. Whoa. Okay. Alan, go ahead.
Yeah, so what made you want to get interested in nonprofit work?
I really think that, when I was struggling and just trying to figure out what to do, and what I wanted to do with myself, I always knew that I liked, working with people. I liked doing volunteer work. And it's something that, like, I just learned from a young age with my parents. And we volunteered and we did things. And then when my sisters, my siblings, I have 4 siblings and they're older. But my older sisters, would go do things, and they would, drag me along. Probably because my parents needed a babysitter. So they would drag me along, and I got to go do different, volunteer opportunities with them. And then I think when I was going through that struggle, I'm like, there's this side of the world that I don't even know anything about. And once I got into it, I've just, really loved it ever since.
Okay. Go ahead, Aiden.
What would you say like your proudest accomplishment is, like your years with the Sixers, and like kind of how do you feel it's evolved since you've gotten there until heading into this year?
Boy, that's a loaded one. How about that? So I had to build a new team, and I'm thrilled about the team that I put together. We get along so well, like the team, but we also get along well with everyone within the Sixers organization. And so I'm really proud of that team that I put together. I'd say the second thing is really with the board, helping the board, realize that our footprint is much bigger, and that we really should think about different areas within the region that we should, consider for funding opportunities. And, being able to talk to them about that, and then, being like, yeah, let's look at those different organizations. And so we still are going to fund in, Philadelphia, and we're still going to fund, in, other like Camden. We're still going to do that. But there are other, areas where in the region that could really use some support as well.
Okay, right here.
How do you feel about the team moving to China?
So, well,
I wasn't even expecting that.
I wasn't either.
I wasn't expecting that.
I wasn't either expecting that. So interesting. Like so when on my side, it's really not my side of the business, right? So I'm the nonprofit arm. I'm the arm that's going to, be out there engaging the community and looking to give away those dollars to those, nonprofits. I'll say the Sixers, the ownership, they are really excited about that opportunity. They've always wanted to be in Philadelphia, and hopefully they're going to get that opportunity. I think that it's a great thing for the city, and I also think it could be a really good thing for the region too, because there are jobs that are going to be there for many people.
Do you think it helps you by having the team now in Center City, if that all goes through in Chinatown, just like the way you're in Camden, right? So you're right there in the community in Camden. You'd be right there in the community in Philadelphia. Do you feel that would have any kind of impact on your line of work?
I think no matter where they are, it's going to help my work.
Yeah, that's a good answer. JJ.
I graduated from Cohen 2 years ago, and the one thing that I learned is that you have to be a salesperson yourself. You have to be your biggest advocate.
That's right.
You have to take the initiative to network. And I just wanted to ask you that when you're talking to these other programs, how did those conversations start? And do you ever get nervous going into those conversations? How do you feel about that?
So I get nervous all the time. And I honestly think if you don't get nervous, maybe something, you're lucky. But I get nervous all the time. But I also think that that also shows your commitment and how much you care, because you want to do, a good job. You want to do the right thing. So yes. The conversations with the nonprofits or those potential grantee partners, a lot of them start because of something like this. I might have been at an event and have been on a panel, and I get up and I talk, and I get up and talk about the foundation and the work that we do. And so then it's over, right? And you have a line of people that want to talk to you about the work that they do and their organization, and then we'll go from there. Also, there are people that just will reach out through LinkedIn because they might have saw me do something else as well. And then we're out there in the community, and so when we see someone, I want to stop and talk and hey, what kind of work do you do? What are you doing? Out there, what kind of program? Oh, this is great, and I'll just stop and watch. One of the things I really like to do on the weekends, if I just have some time and I like to drive. And so I'll drive around the region and I'll just take a look at things and see where kids are out playing. I love to go look around at basketball courts and drive around, and so I can see the different basketball courts out there. I was just in Atlantic City with my sister, not gambling, but we were in Atlantic City. And I said, hey, do you mind if we stop? I want to take a look at this Boys and Girls Club out here. And that's how the conversations begin. And then we just continue and keep going, and we see where it's going to end up.
By the way, she was really nervous when you asked that question. That's when she was really nervous. How are you going to answer that?
I know.
How are you going to answer that question, right? Go ahead, Lee.
Who might be interested in working in nonprofit and hasn't considered it before, what are some of the best ways to start getting involved, like as a college student?
I would say, do you know sort of a area that you're interested in? Okay, because there are nonprofits that that they do all different things, right? So if you want to be with younger children, if you want to do stuff with adults, if somewhere in the middle, so you think about that, and you have sports philanthropy, and then you think about environmental and health and arts, and so what are some of the hobbies you have? What are some of the things that you like to do? Because I bet there's a nonprofit out there that you could find that'd be like, hey, I do like the arts. I do like museums. Wow, I didn't think about that. So think about that. One of the things that I do quite often is I talk to not just young people like yourselves, because people go to college at different points in their lives, right? And are still thinking about, what they want to do. So I'm talking to people in their 30s and 40s, as well, about their different, career paths and what they're interested in. And I would say that if there are some connections that you have on LinkedIn, which is a good networking, thing for us, reach out to them. And I would say if someone can't give you 20 minutes, I'm not sure where their heart is in that, area of their work, because I think you can do that. And I think you can, I do that often. And I'll be like, do you want to meet for coffee? And let's just have a chat. And just kind of feel, what do you want to do? And I'll ask just different questions. And then I'll be like, okay, well then I know someone I can connect you to. If it's not me, I know someone I can connect you to that you could have a conversation with that may get you in the direction where you want to go.
One thing you should learn from today is you better be on LinkedIn. I think you've made that very clear.
I had to make it very clear because in our world, that's where we go. I mean, that is the biggest professional, platform that we utilize. My colleagues and I that we utilize for sure.
So get on LinkedIn. How many of you have a LinkedIn? Let's see. Look at that. You like that? That's very good. And if you're not one of the ones that raise your hand, and make sure that you put a nice professional picture in there, not just some random thing that's in there, whatever that random stamp that they have there, whatever it is.
Oh, the one without
the generic
a face
look,
or whatever.
Whatever
that is.
Put a nice professional picture in there. Update your profile. Utilize it. Look at it. There's a lot of jobs to be had with LinkedIn. Yeah.
What's the Sixers Youth Foundation for mental health advocacy?
So we really have just kind of gotten in that. The Sixers, as an organization, the community relations, social responsibility, specifically in that department, do a lot. But what we've been looking at is those nonprofits that are in that work. And so there are a couple that we're funding now that are able to take that work and incorporate it into like an after-school program. And so we're definitely looking at health and well-being. And it really does fall into that academic enrichment area.
Good question.
I know you had he had his hand for a long time.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't see it. Go ahead.
What kind of collaboration work do you do with the front office? Like, I know you guys do the gala and everything, but are there any other events that you guys work together to set up?
So for me, I mean, that's like the biggest event, for us with the gala. But collaboration.
And when is the gala, by the way?
We haven't set the date yet, but it's
Generally
more than it's usually late January.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it kind of depends on where we think, because we'd like the players to come. So there's a lot of taking a look at schedules and trying to pick that day. But collaboration, I've talked a lot about community relations and social responsibility because we're really active in that work. And as a matter of fact, the VP of that department His name is Mike Goings. He's coming to our board meeting tomorrow, and he's going to talk about all the collaborations that we have and do together. There are many nonprofits that reach out to Mike, or they'll come to me, and where he's like, "This is for you. This is for," and so we'll get an opportunity to talk about. If there's one a nonprofit I don't know that much about, and Mike does, I'm able to talk to him about a lot of things, because I think Mike's been with the Sixers about 18 years, and so he knows the region really well. So we're able to talk a lot. And then there's just some internal work that we do as well. We have a government relations committee, and so I'm on that committee as well internally, because the foundation does bring some different perspective to that, and just in general, who I am and my career and what I can bring to the table.
Just so you know, Mike Goings, Laura Price, who she mentioned earlier, another guy named Alan Lumpkin, who was a Pizza with the Pros guest. When you want to reach to some of the Sixers alumni, those three can connect them with anybody. I mean, they're really good at maintaining relationships with former players, and so when former players come to events or whatever, those guys really play an important role in helping, whether it's the Sixers Youth Foundation or any Sixer, kind of a fundraising event. Carrie.
How much work goes into planning an event like the gala?
A lot.
How many people attend?
Last year we had over 1,200.
Wow.
Yes. So last year it raised the most money. I mean, the most people in attendance. We had it at Please Touch Museum. I don't know if you've ever seen Please Touch Museum. It's a memorial park in Philadelphia, in the Parkside neighborhood. I actually worked there for about 8 years, and so I hire an event coordinator. So and then we develop a list of potential places where we want to go have the gala. And I said, can you please put Please Touch Museum on the list, because it's big, and so it ended up being just a really great place to have it. We set up internal committees, fundraising, an events committee, creative. I know I'm missing, there's one more that's just not jumping out to me right now. But then working with our event planner, she really helps to do sort of the work with the venue, because that takes a lot from, whatever we're going to have there, to, the food and, with parking and, there's just, and that's just a little bit. And then she works along with creative as well too. So, you want to see your organization and the foundation, the Sixers, well represented in that area. She helps with, our entertainment team that comes, they're one of the big, departments that really helps a lot. Where, we have like a band, and we'll have, different performers. And so she'll help out in that area. But our ENT and entertainment team, they do a whole lot, led by Derek Hayes, to really help us put on an incredible, gala.
So it really is, to your question, it really is encompassing the whole organization, because you're using some of the entertainment team, right?
Yeah.
You're working obviously with basketball operation, make sure the players are there, all that.
Yeah.
So Connor, let me go to you. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So my question for you is, all the work you've done for the Sixers, have you done any work for the Dover Bluecoats at all?
So, interesting, not like a lot of direct work. So, the blue and white scrimmage, yes, that's coming up. We have a young friends group that we started last year, 22 to 37. And so our young friends are going to go out and they're going to help volunteer at the scrimmage, which should be really great. Alex Yo and I work really well together. He's a VP of basketball operations. He took me around just not too long ago, he and actually the GM, Larry Milai, on looking at basketball courts in Wilmington, which was great. So we can start to see, about refurbishing a court there. So really just trying, with the Bluecoats now to establish, I guess a more, maybe it's collaborative relationship, because I do believe, and Alex does believe, that there is stuff that we can do together.
Mhm.
So we're trying to find our footing now, and what makes sense for both.
You've been waiting. Go ahead.
Are the tickets to the gala open to the public, or is it only organization?
So yes, they're open to the public.
How much is a ticket, Leslie?
Oh, why'd you ask me that, Neil?
It's not cheap. I'll say that. It's not cheap.
So think about a fundraiser, right? And so we're trying to get to this number, and we're bringing in, incredible performers, and we get sponsorships, and the sponsorships, they have certain amount of tickets attached to them. Individual tickets are $1,000.
Maybe $1,000.
I'll say chump change.
I'll say that.
You want to get 4? You want me to hold you 4?
Yeah.
You know what you might want? Maybe we come up with a Rowan price. Where we get Rowan students, because they're going to come from their bar crawl and come. That would work perfectly. It'd be great. It'd be a great event, right?
It'd be a really
All
good
right,
event. That'd
we're
be
going to do our
great.
Bluecoats announcement in just a second. You did have another question, so go ahead.
So actually, if you want to work in nonprofit art, you will be in it. But to sweeten the deal just a little bit, I know if you work for a nonprofit for a certain amount of years, they should pay your student loans. Is that possible through your foundation?
So, no, and I wasn't really aware that many nonprofits do that. I know when I went back when I went to grad school, I've been working in a nonprofit for a while. They did give me money for classes and money for my books. So I don't know of a lot that do. I know that there's a lot of corporate, organizations that do that if you're there for a certain amount of time.
Last question I'm going to ask is, they want to know about internship opportunities. We're about to unveil our Bluecoats opportunities, which you can tell we have a lot of Bluecoats fans. We love the Bluecoats.
Great.
We're in our 5th year of our partnership with the Bluecoats.
Nice.
I work very closely with Alex and Larry, who you mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
But interns within the Sixers Youth Foundation, do you have any interns?
So we do. So generally, the announcement goes out somewhere around January.
Okay.
And we have a summer internship program. And I can't remember the amount, but I feel like it's somewhere up towards 25, 30, because almost every department in the organization has an intern. We have to apply for it. So we'll get information, and we'll have to, write up what we're interested in the interns doing and putting together, like a job description. And so then it goes to our human resources department. And then when they're interviewing, they see, if there's a fit, within the different departments. And I've been fortunate that I've had an intern for the past 3 summers.
Okay. We've had students the last 2 years that have been Sixers PR. So
Nice. That's great.
We've gotten them in there. So
That's really
think
great.
about that. Thank you very much. You
Great.
stay right there
Oh,
for a second. Let me
okay.
just, I want to fill this up here. Everybody give a round of applause. For
You guys made this very easy. Thank you. I felt really comfortable, which is very nice. And I was nervous when I first started out. I'm used to talking to people, my age, and I'm talking to them about work stuff and so to go in and talk about yourself, it was actually quite fun.
Awesome. So I'm just going to move the chair over to here. If you don't mind, you can stay here because we're going to move your chair right here.
Okay.
There you go. And then we got you there. Let's move this here. All right. So our next guest, I don't want to do that yet. Our next guest next week will be Aaron Hodges. Aaron is the manager for social media for the Philadelphia Eagles. It's a pretty good one. So if you're interested in social media, which a lot of you are, social media next week with Aaron. And she's worked in the NHL, Major League Baseball, also in hockey and now in the NFL. So her background's very impressive. It was a Rowan student that gave me her heads up. She just started the job in August. So she's brand new here to the job. So that'll be next week here for Pete's with Pros. All right, are you ready for the Bluecoats? Before we do that, let me bring down Matt Murphy, Senior Coordinator for Digital Content and Broadcasting for the Philadelphia 76ers and the voice of the Delaware Bluecoats. Look at that. He's got it. So Matt's going to help me unveil everything. So if you have questions about the Bluecoats, how many years have you been? Come on over here. I'm not going to bite. Now, right here. Yeah, you got to look at the beautiful camera. Jen is right there. No, so how many years with the Bluecoats?
This will be my 7th season with the
Seven.
Bluecoats.
Wow,
Yeah,
7th season.
right out of college.
And he does Bluecoats, but his primary job is with the Sixers. So, but he loves the Bluecoats so much he wants to continue to. I don't know how you do that. You manage between the two, but you did out of the 24 home games. How many did you make last year doing TV?
Probably 20.
20 of them.
Schedule
So-
looks better this year too. There's
Really?
not even as many conflicts as last year between the Sixers and the Bluecoats. So it's like every night of the week, a Bluecoats game, a Sixers game, Bluecoats. It's a good balance.
And then Kayla Santiago, Rowan grad from the Sports Camp program, has been his backup. And then Aaron Hook last year,
Yeah.
just graduated in May, also did games. And Kayla and Aaron will do some sideline work as well with Matt. Okay, here we go. You ready? We're going to announce. We'll start here. We're going to first of all mention that we have 40 plus positions available. 40 plus positions available. All positions are paid.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, are paid. Some more than others. I'll just say that. Some more than others. There's 24 home games plus the playoffs beginning November 9th. First game, November 9th. You ready? November 9th?
I actually have a wedding that day, so.
Are you
I'm
going?
not joking.
Are you going to the wedding?
I am.
Oh my God! Well, I guess we.
That's breaking news.
Okay, there you
no
go.
one knows that yet.
All right, applications deadline. All right, so you're going to be resume and cover letter that you will send to sportscam@rowan.edu. Specify what positions, and I'm going to share them all with you here momentarily. What you're applying for. The application deadline is October 11th at 5 p.m. 5 p.m. on October 11th. So that is, what is that? A week from Friday? I think it's a week from Friday.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sean, for that confirmation. Audition details. So for the broadcasters, play-by-play auditions are going to be held on October 16th. That is a Wednesday. It'll probably be around noon or 1 o'clock, somewhere in that vicinity. But you are going to specify in your cover letter when you are available on October 16th to do the audition. And I'll go over auditions a little later on here. Students will receive a Bluecoats game link and a 6-minute window to perform play-by-play. That's, again, for those interested in the broadcast roles. That will be on WGLS, on Rowan Radio, where we will be broadcasting once again this year. The TV side is handled by the Sixers, so Matt's going to be working with Dee Lynam again this year. But again, Kayla Santiago will be involved. I think Kayla's got about 10 to 12 games that she's working. We'll see what Aaron ends up doing, and then we have other opportunities potentially for Rowan students on the sideline. Aaron was lucky last year to be able to do, I think, 3 or 4 games he did on TV, which was lucky as a senior. Both Professor Jones and I are going to be the audition, will be the judges for auditions. All right, now here are the positions. We'll start here with the TV production crew. Look at that number, 22. Talk about the TV production, because you're obviously, this is your bread and butter. This is what you're doing. Tell them about the production and how we do.
Yeah, well, last year we were fortunate to have J.R. Aquila, the longtime Sixers producer director, who many of you know and worked with last season. So to have that level of professionalism and expertise mixed in with everybody else who was doing their thing was just fantastic. I mean, we're trying to be one of the best broadcasts in the G League. We were also on Philly 57 last year, so CBS sister station, and that's why these roles are so important.
Right, and ESPN Plus as well.
Right.
NBA TV on occasion.
So like the streaming part of it has existed for a while with your ESPN Pluses, but to be on locally, I mean, YouTube TV, so many people have that channel is included. I have a story about that, but NBA TV, when they pick up a Bluecoats broadcast, it's our announcers, it's our graphics, it's everything. They just pick up our feed. So same goes for potentially playoff games and different channels throughout the season. But the story about CBS Philly 57 is that I was walking into a Sixers game and Tyrese Maxey grabbed me and said that he was flipping through YouTube TV and he watched a Bluecoats game and he was complimenting our work, because it's just that easy now to see the work that you all are directly involved with through this partnership that's been going strong since the bubble season, the G League bubble in 2020. I was in the bubble with the Bluecoats doing a little bit of everything. I was broadcasting, working with D. Lynham on like pre and post game shows, and Jason Crafton, who's a college coach that's been involved with our broadcast over the years too. But yeah, it's a big crew, but it's needed. I mean, there are so many positions behind the scenes that these reps are just invaluable.
So he mentioned J.R. Aguila. J.R., for those of you that were on the production crew last year, J.R. is coming back. We're adding 2 new advisors. We're calling them advisors. That'll be Nick Marquetta and Jeff Halleckman, both from NBC Sports Philadelphia with extensive experience. So there will always be an advisor there one night, but the 3 will share over the course of the season who will be the advisor that night. The reason we have a crew of 20 is because we had a crew of 14 for games last year, 14. So 14 students are working. It's all done by students with the advisor there to give you some guidance if necessary. Obviously Murph's there, but we will have 14. What was funny about that?
I'm not sure. I'm just smiling.
All right, 14 students, and there will be an executive producer of a student that will announce when we have everything all put together. But we have a student that will be the executive producer that will be responsible for crewing everybody and what everybody will be doing. And then again, broadcast on CBS, Philly 57, and ESPN Plus. So that's the television crew production side. And again, no broadcasters on that end because we mentioned Murph and also D. Lynham doing the games with some other people. We'll have Sideline again this year, and we're hoping to really enhance. I know there's some really positive things that we're going to add to this, and we added a lot last year. We're going to add even more this year. All right, radio broadcasters. We're going to go with 4 radio play-by-play and color analysts. Those are the ones that need to do the auditions. So last year we had something where in the vicinity of 20 students, I think it was, that auditioned. So we'll anticipate some of that number again. But again, as I mentioned earlier, you get that 6-minute opportunity to be able to do it. And we select 4 students. So there's 4 studio producer host roles. There's 2 people that work in the studio on the night of a game. We will select 4. No audition necessary for that role. Honestly, Derek Jones, if you've been involved with Rowan Radio, has a big influence on who gets selected there in that role as a producer-host role. But that is done from the GLS studios on the other side of that wall. The WHIP beat writers. So we're going to take 2 WHIP beat writers. We did that last year. We also do it with the Wilmington Blue Rocks. So that is an opportunity to be able to cover a game and have the true beat reporter experience. The WIT editor will be handling the coordination of the coverage and manage the beat writers. They have a budget that we give them and that they manage it. And then we're going to have a WIT still photographer as well that will also contribute to Jenna, who is the social media coordinator and PR for the Delaware Bluecoats as well. So that will be also helping out with social media for Jenna. Okay. Any comment you want to make on that, Murph? What do you think?
I will just say there is no better time to be involved with the G League right now. And I want to stress that it's not something like semi-pro sports or semi-pro basketball. It's professional basketball with a direct affiliation to an NBA team in the Sixers, which is just a huge distinction from, other sports leagues and teams. And the numbers don't lie. In the NBA playoffs last year, there were 56% of all players on playoff rosters had G League experience. And then in the finals, it was 63% of everyone on the Mavericks and Celtics had played in the G League. 5 of the playoff coaches last year had coached in the G League. So to work in it is just the next step on the way to the NBA.
It's not unusual to see 3, 4, 5 players starting in a game that played in an NBA game that year. It's insane. I mean, these guys are one phone call away from playing in the NBA.
And the fact that we don't always know until tip-off or just before makes us all better in our jobs. I was talking with some people on the way in about that when you're hosting the pregame show, as Aiden was saying, and you don't know if the two-way guys are all there and you're following the Sixers social media to see who traveled and who didn't to the NBA game. It makes us all better.
All right. That's a lot of the media part. Now let's go here. We're adding this year. Jenna, did we have a social media role last year? Did we have that last year?
Yes, we had a social media. Well, we had 2, and it was like.
One was a video one. Right. Okay. So that's right, Zion and Seth. Okay, so social media, we're going to do that again this year. And we have a social media videographer, photographer. So those two will be working with Jenna. Game day operations, we've had that as well. There's 3 of them. They work closely with, Coach Joe is the main point person for that. Have you met Coach Joe?
Joe Richmond, yeah. What a guy.
When you meet Coach Joe, you know you've met Coach Joe. So you work all home games, assist with merchandise sales, coordinate sponsorship board, act as a roving staff member. There's a lot of responsibilities that game day operations handle. Courtside stat crew. Where's Jackson? Jackson did it last year. Jackson, just you're trained by the NBA, right?
Yes.
And Jackson will. So here's the deal: if you get in they want you back the next year. That because you're trained by the NBA. So just tell them what you did.
So essentially, I would say courtside and track the live stats, and you have no idea how fast a basketball game is until you're actually on the court tracking everything. So it was a really cool experience. I mean, getting to actually do statistical backgrounds and apply it to a basketball game is really cool.
So he's a math major and a sports cam major and wants to get into analytics. So he also did it for the Wilmington Blue Rocks this summer as well. So we're going to take an additional person. We know we have one right here. But again, if you get in, they want you to come back again because you're trained. There's some commitment here on the Blue Coats part and the NBA's part to train you to be in that role. So just keep that in mind. This is something new. We're going to add a business sales intern. So you're going to perform tasks assigned by the account executive. This role includes non-game day responsibilities. It's important. There's non-game day responsibilities included in that role. So we just had Davion Jimenez that got hired. Davion was a business and sports cam, and he's now working full-time as an account executive with the Blue Coats. He also worked for the Blue Rocks, but he he had an opportunity to work at other organization. He chose to work with the Blue Coats. So he is one of the people that you'll be working with. We also have added a game day attendant. Now this is really different and new. We're going to see how this works. We'll see Joe Kane, if Joe Kane can make this work for us. But Joe Kane, for those of you that worked for the Blue Coats last year, was in kind of what was Joe's title? Business Development Manager, and he went now to the basketball side, and he is now, what's his title?
Director of Basketball Operations.
Okay, Director of Basketball Operations. He is now the person that you're probably going to work closely with as a game day attendant, but you're working with the basketball operations staff. Now, don't think you're going to be you're working with Jameer Nelson, who's the GM of the Blue Coats, and you're, hey, Jameer, today let's decide, let's go this direction here. Let's sit Ricky Council out and let's bring in this guy. Yeah, I think that's a good move. Okay, I'm going to go get a coffee. All right, I'll be back.
And the trades are so confusing to begin with in the G League. You're trading players' rights, and they're playing in another country, so you don't want to be involved with that anyway.
So, thank you. So this is a very unique role. I have no idea what to expect. We have no idea. All this is predicated on the Blue Coats and Alex Yo and the staff there deciding whether you're the right fit for what they're looking for. Okay, so there's no guarantee on anything. This is what is available, but we really have to, this one, we really got to make sure that we've got it right. So, because you're working with basketball operations, Alex Yo is not going to be your boss. It's going to be Joe Kane. So we got to make sure we get that right. And lastly, community relations. We're adding that as well. Jenny, you want to add anything on community relations about that role?
Yeah, so basically working with our community team, Coach Joe, and Kristen and Liam Matthews, they run a couple of different programs, books and basketball, neighborhood hoops, and they do different skills and drill sessions, going to schools, speaking to kids, they do pep rallies, basically like just spreading the Blue Coats name and trying to get the community active and all that fun stuff.
So that's another role we're going to add. So altogether, 45 roles are being added. What do you think about that, Leslie?
I think it's pretty awesome. And they're paid too, which is incredible.
Well, they're not. Look, they're getting enough, to cover travel costs and maybe get a hot dog at the end of the day.
When I was in school, I would have loved to have had that. And you're not out there trying to make millions of dollars, but it's an awesome, thing to be able to provide that.
Yeah, it is. It's really special. We're very fortunate with the Blue Coats. We're very fortunate with the Blue Coats partnership. We really are. And you can see here, you got Jenna here, you got Matt here. I mean, just Alex is a professor here in our program. We're very much aligned with the Delaware Blue Coats. You had a question. What's the question?
Max, are freshmen allowed to do the internship or no?
I think
Are who?
all freshmen allowed to
Yeah.
apply.
Oh, I'm glad you asked that. I highly encourage freshmen to apply.
Nice.
Highly encourage. We take every year 3 or 4 freshmen every year. Who in this room has been a freshman that was a Blue Coats intern? Owen, Christina, JJ, will you know? Who else? Sam, who else? You weren't a freshman. You were a transfer. You were a transfer, you came in your first year here, you did first semester here. Anybody else? Okay, so we take 3 to 4 every year. 3 to 4 every year. Am I missing someone? I can't see him. Oh, Connor. Connor as a broadcaster. Connor's a broadcaster. Thank you. I couldn't see you that late right there. So there you go. Yes?
Does it last the internship the whole season?
The
or
whole
is it
season.
Oh, wow.
Whole season.
So it's over 2 college semesters.
It is.
Oh,
It is.
nice.
Yeah, it's really, it's
Like you're going to
awesome.
come out being professional.
Yeah. And they work with Matt.
That's right.
Yeah.
Don't let that dissuade you.
All right. What other questions do you have? Listen, I look. There is zero reason why you shouldn't apply. You should apply. You know, because people go sometimes. They go, I didn't think I'd get it. Because when I have the intro class here next week, and I'll go to 75 freshmen or transfer students, and I go, all right, this might be a week after we did we announced who gets the internships. All right, how many of you applied? And maybe 15 applied. And I'm thinking like. And then I say, all right, how many of you got it? And maybe 4 put their hand up. And I go, did you think you were going to get it when you applied? No. Did you get it? Yes. You can't get it unless you apply. You have to apply. Owen's shaking his head yes because he applied. Christina's shaking her head yes because she applied. Connor, you're shaking your head yes because you applied. All right, there you go. All right, questions. All right, we'll go here first.
So I just applied for an internship for Flyers with you past week. Am I going to be able to balance the 2 internships with each other?
I'm going to have Owen answer that. Owen, answer that question.
You should do as much as possible. So yes.
All right. So
You'll find a way to balance.
what do I do if like game days on the same day?
You can't work that
It's
day.
one or the other. And if you can work both at the same day, you do it.
So Owen has had multiple internships. Caitlin, multiple internships. Christina, multiple internships. Julia, multiple internships. Carrie, multiple internships. I could go around the room. Everybody in this room that is really very successful right now with their college experience is all because they do multiple internships at the same time. You learn how to manage your time. All of them have. Okay? So yes, you can do it 100%. Emma.
I want to learn more about this professional roles. I want to apply tonight. How can I find more information?
You just got the information. That's it.
There's not a list of.
This will be posted on GroupMe so that everybody will see it. But there's no more information other than what you see there. You're writing a cover letter and a resume. My recommendation to you on that cover letter is not write a book. Just write a simple, maybe paragraph at most. You're just telling them what you're interested in applying for. You need to tell them what you're interested in applying for in your cover letter, and then your resume speaks. You don't have to talk about your accomplishments and all that. They see that in the resume, okay? Any advice you would give them?
With applying, I mean, listen, if I had all these opportunities when I went to school, I would have been applying and I would have been doing multiple internships the same way. So I just do it because you have nothing to lose and you have so much to gain. All the experience when I looked to hire, because I told you I built that team. 2 of the people that I hired did all these internships. And I'm talking about not just in this area. I had someone that did it with the Predators, in Nashville, up in Boston, the other one. So do them. And they translate to so many different, positions, jobs that you'll have over time. And this is an opportunity to learn and you're going to go into that full-time job that you get with all this experience. Do it.
So you went to Fordham.
Even though I feel like an honorary Rowan alum at
Yes,
this
you
point.
did. We're gonna welcome you in open
Yeah.
arms. But
Can I put that on my LinkedIn?
Yes, you can. Well, LinkedIn. There you go. There's another one. All right. So now we know. No, but when you were in college at Fordham, by the way, great unbelievable radio station, a really good program. They really have a lot of successful students in the New York market for sure. But would you see this and how it's helped you and even your career now with the Sixers and what you've been able to, carve out in your career? Just give them a little bit of taste of that.
Yeah, so I think there's just a certain comfort level when you're working in pro sports that this gives you such a huge head start on people from other colleges who haven't worked pro games before. So when I was at Fordham, we covered all the New York pro teams and had credentials to report on the games. So my sophomore year, I covered the New Jersey Devils for a whole hockey season. I did the Rangers the next 2 years. I did the Jets as a senior, and we were in the locker room. And there's just a different thing that you bring to the workforce, like that it factor coming out of school. So today was my 7th media day with the Sixers, all right out of school. But I felt like I had been doing it for years before even emailing Alex Yo out of the blue and backdooring my way into the Sixers organization, basically. And when I was in school, Tony Reale, the host of Around the Horn, he's a Fordham alum, and he had us shadow the show one day. And there's no better time, with the advice he gave us, there's no better time than college to say yes to opportunities. And his advice was just say yes to everything, even if it's not exactly what you want to be doing at the time. So my question for you would be, can they put second and third options
of course,
down and
yes,
bounce around?
But you can put 10 options down. Okay, you can put all 10. If you want to put, all right, let's go to the second page. If you want to put every one of those on there, go ahead, do it. Now, I would put the one that you feel you're strongest maybe first. Jenna's nodding yes. But I would put that one first, and maybe your resume might show why that might be. So social media, maybe you did social media here on campus and you did it for another off-campus organization. Maybe that's your strongest suit. But there's going to be, I'm going to tell you right now, there's going to be a ton of people that are going to apply for social media. Last year, I think it was probably 20-ish that were applied just for that one social media position. Okay, so there's 20 people, and I guarantee you there are 20 pretty darn good candidates, but only one's going to get it. So my recommendation is yes, Murph, yes, to put as many of these as possible, because that's going to give you the best chance of getting in there. Yeah.
Right. So at a baseline level, say yes to applying for the program and then figure it out, especially underclassmen. My first few opportunities when I was at Fordham were in production. I was an intern cutting radio highlights at Westwood One, knowing I wanted to be on air, but I'm cutting highlights for Kevin Harlan calling the Super Bowl, and I'm learning from that. So it's all interconnected, and it's better to know how everything else works around you.
By the way, he is the backup radio play-by-play for the Philadelphia 76ers, okay? So you think you would have gotten that if you didn't do Blue Coats? Did that help?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, and I think just even working with the Blue Coats in social media and PR and interfacing with everyone from the Sixers in various departments helped me, work my way up the Sixers organization, because they are so close. And my career has spanned through the pandemic. I was able to work my way up because I was working in so many different departments at the Blue Coats that I knew so many people at the Sixers.
See, Jenna? See that? Jenna, by the way,
is the most recent
Jenna
example.
now is full-time with the Delaware Blue Coats, so let's give a round of applause. All right, other questions? Who had a question? Right here.
Can I just say one more thing?
Sure, JJ.
All right, cool. So I graduated in 2022, and originally, when the Blue Coats partnered with Rowan, it was really cool because I was one of the OGs that got to be a part of it, and I did the audition process. I didn't really know if I wanted to do it, but I just decided to just do it anyways, and it was just such a really cool experience. And not only that, but I also wanted to make sure that I got involved in other ways too, because it's really, really important that you learn how to develop and build as a team. So if people see that you're a team player, they're gonna want to hire you. So I learned that from just this whole experience, and it has helped me get to where I am today. So definitely take advantage of all these awesome opportunities, because once you're done with college, it's done.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Jason. All right, who else? Questions? There's someone that had a hand up over here. No? Anybody good? Anybody else with a question? By the way, he just walked out. I was going to bring him down, but I didn't know where he was going. He went to the bathroom. Mike Gaddy from NBC Sports Philadelphia is the senior supervising producer at NBC Sports Philly in the newsroom. He's been with us now. He's in his 4th year. Mike oversees interns with me, so About the credit, it says up here that, what's it up here? If you look on the top, it says internships credit is available for all roles. Here's how we will handle this. So I'm assuming that just about everybody in this room, if you're, first of all, internship is like an elective, although if you haven't had an internship, you are required to have one. Take the internship course once. However, if you are interested in taking this as an intern, you are not required. I would encourage it, but it's not required. You don't have to, you wouldn't take it this fall because you're already at 15 credits. We don't want you to go to 18 credits. So you can take it in the spring. So the internship course can take in the spring, even though the season is going to start in November. But as Leslie pointed out, the season goes all the way into sometimes into April in the playoffs. So you'll be able to take the internship course in the spring, although you'll start doing the work, and we'll take you through that process. Weekly logs is what you provide us starting in November. Okay, so I just want to make sure everybody understands that. I encourage you to take it for credit, and we can easily get you in the spring for internship credit. Any other questions about that?
So like, what are requirements? I mean, I know like freshmen can take it, but do you need to have a car to do the internship or not?
That's another good question. So last year, not every year, we have our students that are going there. Think about it, they're all going to Wilmington, which is about 35, 40 minutes away. We carpool. Sam, let me go to production. Like Christina, did you have a car the first year?
I did.
You did. Did you have a car on? You did not. How did you get there?
I got rides.
Got rides. Yeah. So we give. There's lots of rides. Like we have a group meet chat. Everybody in the group meet chat understands. Hey, I need a ride. Can I go there? And I also want to mention. I mentioned Sam. We have Sam's worked the last 2 years in the doing studio work. The studio crew, we encourage them to come to the game as well. So when we want you to feel part of the Blue Coats. We do have an orientation that'll be 2 weeks before the start of the season on a Friday. When everybody comes, you meet the whole staff. They met Jameer last year. They met Coach Longo. So we do that as well, so that we want everybody to feel as much a part of the organization, even though some people do work remotely or not here. They might work at the radio station. But getting to the game or getting to Chase Fieldhouse is not a challenge. We can definitely do it through carpool. Any other questions? All right, so get your resumes out. Again, thank Leslie, thank Matt for being here. If you're interested in talking to any of us, we'll be here afterwards, but we'll see you next week. Thank you. Thanks.